Today, I'm talking about a rinseless wash versus a 2-bucket wash method and why we use one over the other. If you really need an extractor in your business, and then 2 tools that we've stopped using. And I do have a special announcement that I will be the host of the 2024 Jobber Summit online event. So I've been to their last 2 events that they had, and it's a fantastic online event that they put on. So they're going to bring on different experts and business owners across different fields and industries to just talk about growing your business. So, and I always talk about like, if you want to learn, it's best to learn from others outside the detailing space. That way, like you gain inspiration and you take what they do and mold it to fit your specific business. So whether you're just getting started or you're already established, they're going to have sessions for everyone. So if you want to learn about maybe, pricing your services, or maybe about bookkeeping, or maybe about marketing, or you need help hiring employees or onboarding employees and training them, they're going to have multiple sessions throughout the day to help you in that area. You can click the link down below in the description box or in the show notes to sign up. It's a completely free event happening March 6th. And I will be the host. So if you follow me on social media, you'll see my influence on the videos that I did on the event. It's a very the event itself is put well together. Like it's a really good event. It's not like just like a Zoom call or something. There's a lot of networking, and it's really cool the last 2 years that I've been. So you can click the link down below and sign up for free. Let's go ahead and get started with this episode. So first topic we're going to cover is rinseless wash versus a 2-bucket wash method. Now, there are quite a few variations of a wash, right? Because you could do a 2-bucket wash method. You could foam it down first and then do a 2-bucket wash method. You could use like strictly just wash towels instead of wash mitts. You could, there's a lot of variations, right? Like you could do a pre-rinse with APC, then rinse it, and so many variations. We're going to keep it very simple to just saying rinseless wash versus a 2-bucket wash method. So I have been using rinseless wash now for a very long time. I think since 2013, 14, like I really started getting into like heavy rinseless washing, and I got away from the 2-bucket wash method, and I never really foamed down vehicles, really until I started working with Lex and we had the van and then we got the shop. But when I was mobile on my own, I really didn't do much of foaming it down. I really didn't do much of the 2-bucket wash method, because, and not that we don't ever like take the wash a step further to make sure we're not inducing swirls, but it's never a default option for us to go with the 2-bucket wash method, right? Actually, as far as a 2-bucket wash method, like we literally have 2 buckets. That we don't do. We do not have ever 2 buckets out to wash a vehicle. Like that's just not a thing anymore. Like you'll never see 2 buckets out next to a vehicle while we're washing it. That's obsolete now. Now, we might foam the vehicle down and then use a bucket with soap and put like 5 wash mitts in there, and we'll wash as much as we can. Then once the wash mitt is dirty on both sides, we'll just either rinse it with the pressure washer, or we'll set it aside. We'll rinse it and then dunk it back in the wash bucket and just start to wash again. Or we'll just set it aside, grab another fresh, clean wash mitt or wash towel out of the bucket, and then continue to wash. So that's as far as we take it with the wash bucket, with the wash with soap. Again, depending on the situation, we might do an APC pre-rinse if there's a lot of bugs on the front end, if there's just like a big layer of road film and dirt and whatever on the vehicle, then yeah, we'll pre-rinse the vehicle or pre-spray the vehicle with an all-purpose cleaner, let it dwell, and then rinse it off with the pressure washer, and then perhaps maybe at that point foam it down. But again, it's very subjective. It's very dependent on the condition, right? Like, if there's a vehicle that's going to get a correction in coating and it's basically like there's just a light layer of dust, we're going to just do a rinseless wash, because you don't need to get crazy with it, right? Like you don't need to go and foam and rinse it and foam it, or do an APC pre-spray, rinse it, foam it, wash it, rinse it. Like it's just not needed. And even on a very caked vehicle, right? Because this happens all the time. Even on a very caked vehicle that's really dirty, once we do the pre-spray with the all-purpose cleaner, let it dwell, we rinse it down, it's knocked off a large majority of the dirt. And after that, we might go into a rinseless wash after that. And we won't do we won't do a soap wash bucket. because it's just easier. It's just we're able to do that. And here's the thing that I always encourage this. If you're gonna do a correction, a polish, any form of polishing, it doesn't matter what kind of wash you do, because any small amounts of swirls or light scratches or marring that you put into the paintwork is going to be removed on your next step when it comes to polishing. So you're going to spend more time trying to not put swirls in the paintwork when on your very next step, you're going to polish the paint. So I'm not saying obviously to go and just mar the vehicle and put as many scratches. No, but I'm saying any level of light swirls that you might potentially put to any degree, it's going to be easily remedied on your next step on the polishing step. So don't overthink oh my God, I'm putting an extra swirl in there. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. And the next thing is like don't try to do a swirl-free wash when the paint itself is heavily swirled. That just doesn't make sense, right? Like if the vehicle is corrected and polished and it's coming in for maintenance, then yes, obviously you're gonna be a bit more gentle and delicate with it, because it's completely polished and coated, right? Doesn't mean it's 100% swirl free, but let's say 85%. Like yeah, it's swirl free for the most part. So yes, you wanna be a bit more precautious and not add swirls over each wash that you do, because you wanna prolong the life of or the gloss of the vehicle. Now, if that vehicle is heavily swirled, if there's water spots, if there's water etching, if there's love bugs, it doesn't make sense for you as a detailer to try and go and be so perfect and do all this when the vehicle itself is not in the condition to where it makes sense to do that level of work or results, because you're trying to be swirl free while the paint is heavily swirled, right? So not that it's wrong, but like you have to be able to know when to do a certain method based on the condition and when not to, right? Like if you really wanted to do the proper wash method, you would tell the customer, hey, your car really needs to be polished so the car can be shiny and glossy. Like that would be the right step to do, right? Like you trying to be a swirl-free finish on an already swirled vehicle makes no difference. Like the customer isn't gonna notice the difference between, oh man, thanks that you foamed it down and did a 2-bucket wash method and used 7 different wash methods. Like thanks, because the last 75 washes, I've literally taken it to the $5 car wash where they get it done in about 10 minutes, right? Like there's gonna be no difference. So if you want to have that kind of mentality of like, oh, well, I only want to do the best proper steps, go find the customers, go attract the customers that are willing to pay for the correction, the polishing, the ceramic coating, so that when you actually come to do the maintenance wash on it, it actually makes sense and it actually has an impact to doing that level of wash on that customer's vehicle, because like it makes sense for it, right? Like we charge $50 minimum for our car wash, for our premium wash is what we call it, right? The person that doesn't care about swirls, the person that just wants a clean car, they're not going to bring their vehicle to us for a $50 wash. And that doesn't include the interior. Like it's just the exterior. Cleaning the wheels, tires, fender wells, washing the vehicle, drying the vehicle, dressing the tires, cleaning the glass, and cleaning the door jambs, right? That's it. That's $50. Starting off, like on a Mustang right behind this camera here, it would be $50 for a wash. Now, it goes up if it's a truck, a SUV, if it's a minivan, if it's whatever, like the price goes up. So we charge $110 for just a premium wash. Doesn't include anything on the interior, no engine, it's just the exterior wash. So for us, it's like, we're not trying to price our services for the masses that want a car wash, right? 9 out of 10 times, I'd say 8 out of 10 times. 8 out of 10 times, someone hires us for a premium wash because one, their vehicle is either by us or another detailer has been corrected or has been corrected, polished, and coated. 2 is that customer really appreciates and enjoys their vehicle and they understand the value of a proper wash, so they're willing to go and pay for a $50 car wash, right? So we have plenty of customers where we haven't polished their vehicle, but they want to take care of their vehicle. Like they know that they don't want to take it to, Mr. Bubbles down the street. Like they want a professional premium detailer to maintain their vehicle, right? And the third customer, it's like, yeah, they just want to come to a professional establishment that like does a good job, right? Like we have a customer that maybe like once a month comes to us, but they have a membership at like a local car wash for like $40 a month for like unlimited washes. You know, like it's just that's I mean, you know, I don't have control over that, but that's what they do. Like they still bring us and just for like a premium wash as well, like nothing fancy either. But again, that is like the minority in terms of who comes to us. Most of the time, it falls under their vehicle is polished and colored or polished to some degree, and then the person that really wants to just make sure that their vehicle is being washed properly. But at no time are they asking us, or do we tell them, hey, we're doing a rinseless wash instead of a 2-bucket wash method, right? Like, because you never want to position your business to like, we're the professional, right? Like we are the authority. Like we know what we're doing with your vehicle. So if a vehicle comes to us and we're like, oh, we can do rinseless. Oh, well, we're just gonna do rinseless. If a vehicle comes to us and we need to foam it down. Okay, well, we'll foam it down, right? So it's never about the process for us. It's never about how we do things. It's like, hey, here is the end result that you're looking for, right? So like we're not trying to max out our schedule. And I've said this multiple times. We're not trying to max out our schedule with a bunch of maintenance washes, with a bunch of just premium washes. Like we don't want to see 3, 5, 10 premium washes on the schedule every week, right? Now, again, we have, and it's interesting to see because at our shop, right? Because people think like maintenance clients, it's all mobile. Like you have to go mobile. But we've seen we have quite a few maintenance clients that bring their vehicle to us every single month. Some are twice a week. Some are once a month. Some is like every other month, but it's still considered maintenance because we charge more than the typical maintenance, but it is still maintenance because we're maintaining their vehicle. So for but as far as like which wash method do you use, the 2-bucket wash method or a rinseless? I always tend to lean towards the rinseless wash. Again, we don't do a 2-bucket wash method where there's actual 2 buckets. We might foam it down, or we might rinse the vehicle down and use a dedicated wash bucket with soap in there and multiple wash mitts or wash towels. But it's been now at least 5 years, 6 years since I've used a 2-bucket wash method. It's just like it's obsolete. Like it's not necessary anymore to do that, especially if that vehicle is not at least polished. Like if you're doing a 2-bucket wash method, which is supposed to be a swirl-free wash, right? On a heavily swirled vehicle, it's like, you know, if you're doing this as a hobby on your own personal vehicle, no question about it. Do whatever you want because that is your personal vehicle, your time, at your leisurely time. Like does not make a difference. If you're doing this as a business and you're trying to make money and you're trying to expand and you're just trying to make sure you're doing the right service on the right vehicle for the right price, yeah, you shouldn't do a swirl-free wash. Not that you should swirl it, but you can't have the mentality of saying, oh, I can't put any swirls in this paintwork when the vehicle itself is heavily swirled, heavily contaminated, and there's water spots on it. It just doesn't make sense. Hopefully that that made sense. So next one here, next topic is if you need an extractor. So you can, like, for instance, when I first started, there was no extractor. There was no steamer. It was literally just an all-purpose cleaner, diluted maybe 10-to-1, 4-to-1, multiple brushes, towels, and a vacuum. I cleaned very dirty interiors with just APC, brushes, and towels. Like I did quite a few of them with that. Now this was way back in maybe, 2011, 2012, 2013. But I did full interior cleanings, like heavily dirty interiors with the carpets are super dirty, the floor mats are super dirty, the headliner is super dirty. I did all that cleaning with just an all-purpose cleaner, brushes, and some towels. So do you need an extractor? Like, can you get the job done without an extractor? Of course you can, right? Like, do you need a polisher? Like, do you need a rotary to polish? No, you can do a dual action. Do you need to have a 15 millimeter throw polisher? No, you can have an 8 millimeter, right? Like, you can get a lot of stuff done without this specific tool, right? So with an extractor, do you absolutely need one? I mean, no. Can you clean a cloth seat or a leather seat or a rubber floor mat with an all-purpose cleaner or a dedicated carpet cleaner and a brush? Yeah, of course you can. Now, the biggest difference, like when you see a lot of those what is it called? Those disgusting transformations, like the interior cleanings that you see on YouTube, and they're using like that small what's it called, like the rug doctor or the small machines, the spot cleans. You could use that to clean any interior, right? Like absolutely you can. Like I think it's like $100. Like you could use that small machine. You put some warm water in there, right? You could use that machine to clean any interior. But as a business, and you're trying to get through vehicles because like that's how you make money. For like, remember, if you see those disgusting transformations on interior cleanings and they're using those small machines, that's like they're not really doing it as a business so much more as doing it just for content, right? Nothing wrong with that, but just to be clear, there is a big difference between detailing for content and then detailing as a business where you're making money through your customers, right? Like there's a big difference on that. So could you use like $100 spot clean little shampoo to clean a disgusting interior? Absolutely yes. Now the difference becomes, now could you do one interior like that per day with that small machine? Yes, you can. Now if it's a large SUV, it'll probably take you a lot longer if you're doing the carpeting and the floor mats and the seats, but you could do it, right? Now, if you're trying to grow your business and add more customers to your schedule and get more work done per day, could you do 2 of those vehicles per day with that machine? Okay. I mean, you'd probably be working some long days, but like technically you could, right? Now, could you add three vehicles on a schedule in one day with that machine? I'm like, probably not, right? Because with a smaller machine, you have to, just the power is not there, right? The suction's not there, the heat's not there, the capacity to hold the water and the recovery tank is not there, right? So the amount of times you have to refill that machine eats up a lot of time, right? So the Aqua Provac extractor, which I use for many years, it's a great extractor, has no heating element. I think it's like maybe like a gallon and something as far as capacity to hold water and in the recovery tank. So if you're doing like, if I did like a Corolla that was like half dirty, like more than, or let's say average dirty, I think I had to refill it like maybe 2 or 3 times, right? If I'm doing the floor mats, the carpeting, and maybe the seats, I think I'm refilling it like 2 or 3 times. Now again, if you're doing one vehicle a day, it's not a big deal. Like it's really not a big, like I did this for years. Now, when you're adding multiple vehicles per day, then you're like, okay, well, now I'm refilling like 3, 6, 7 times per day. And like over time, like that eats up a lot of time. So for instance, that's why we purchased the PE 500, right? Because it has a 5-gallon capacity tank, right? For the clean water and the recovery tank. And with that one, like you almost don't have to refill the whole day. Like if we do, depending on the condition of the vehicle, of course, and the wand that you're using in terms of how much water you're outputting. But the reason why we purchased a much bigger extractor, which is $3,000, it's purely for the tank size. Because now, 1, we didn't have to remove it out of the van. 2, we were able to put a 30-foot hose on there, so that way the extractor stays stationary in the van. It has a heating capability, but more so is like we no longer had to refill so many times throughout the day. Like we could fill it up once, and like if we do 2-3 vehicles a day, like all including interiors, it can last a pretty long while, and it just made life a lot easier, right? So if your budget is only $110 to get that small little compact spot clean shampoo machine, that's absolutely perfect. Start with that, get the reps in, do the best job that you can, and you'll be good to go with that. As time goes on, yes, like you'll want to upgrade extractor based on your business goals and how many customers you're going to do and how much money you want to make. You want to upgrade to a bigger capacity machine, right? Again, that just might mean an Aqua Provac extractor, which I think it's like $500. But even then, right? Like it's a bigger tank, right? It's stronger suction, and then after that, it's like, okay, maybe you want to go to a HP60 Spider or a mighty HP 114. I forget the names now. So my point is, based on where you are with your business and what you're doing and how many cars you're doing and how much money you want to make and your mobile tank size, like yes, it makes sense to upgrade. But again, there's always a threshold to everything, right? So like the PE 500 that we have, massive extractor. You need a bigger van. You need a bigger generator. So with that one, that's like extreme, right? It's a portable extractor for residential and commercial cleaning, right? That's that kind of extractor. So we heavily only use that for mobile detailing, right? Because again, it stayed in the van, 30-foot hose, a larger capacity to hold water. Now here at the shop, we've only used it twice. and we're gonna sell that PE 500 because we simply don't need it. It's overkill for the shop because we have two HV60 spiders, and it's a lot easier at the shop to refill the water or to dump out the water or to do any, because we're at the shop, like we're in a controlled environment. The PE 500 is just not collecting dust because it's not needed for here. Another big drawback to that PE 500 is you need to run two cords to have the vacuum and the heating capability. So you need to run it on two different plugs, and it can't be on the same circuit because then you'll trip the circuit altogether, and then you'll just not work like that. So it's very annoying because you need two different plugs. On the mobile van that we had a big enough generator to run that, right? But we were only able to buy that bigger extractor, and we were only able to buy that bigger generator because we had a bigger van. So you see the effects that it has. Like if you want if you want a bigger extractor, well, you might need a bigger generator to run on your machines. And in order to fit the bigger extractor and the bigger generator, you might need a bigger van, right? So does that make sense for you? Does it not? It just depends on your business, right? So here at the shop now, we don't need to use that bigger extractor. We use the HB60 Spider. That's perfectly fine for what we do. Even though it's nowhere near the strength or the size or the capability of the PE 500, it's fine because this one serves its purpose for the shop, and the PE 500 is actually overkill for the shop. So the extractor, and not just the extractor, the steamer, the polisher, whatever you purchase is based on where you are with your business and what you need it for. So does the $110 little shampoo machine work for interior cleaning? Yes. Will the $1,600 heated extractor work for your business? Yes, but it just depends where you are in your business, right? Are you doing 1 car a day, 3 cars a day, right? Are you mobile? Are you shop? It all depends on where you are with your business and what you're doing. So do you absolutely need an extractor? I mean, no, you can use a brush, right? If you're just getting started, all-purpose cleaner, use some brushes and towels, and it's gonna take you a long time. You're gonna get fatigued. It's gonna wear you down, but you can clean an entire interior like that. If you're adding more vehicles and you're adding 1 car a day, okay, well, yeah, go spend $100 for the little shampoo machine and get that to work for you. As your business grows, you're making more money. Okay, hey, maybe it's time to upgrade to the Aqua Pro Vac or the other spot cleaners like the VersaClean. So it all just depends on where you are with your business. Okay, so next question here, or not next question. Next topic is the 2 tools we stopped using. I touched on this very little on the last episode with Lex, but we stopped using, as far as stopped, like we decreased the usage of it, is the steamer. And kind of touching point to what I just said about the extractor is in the mobile van, we had the Johnny Vac vacuum. Now that Johnny Vac was, I think, plus the extended hose, I think it was roughly around $500. Really great vacuum. We had it on a 50-foot hose, I think, right? So we never had to take the vacuum out of the mobile rig. We could just unwind it. And it worked great. Worked flawless, like no problem. It was $500 though. Now here at the shop, we just use your standard rigid vacuum that you can purchase at Home Depot for like $60. And then we buy that detailing accessory kit, and that's like another like $50. So like for $110, we have a vacuum here that works absolutely fine. That's all we use. And we stopped using the $500 Johnny Vac vacuum. That's like way better build, way bigger everything. But like we don't need it. So with the steamer, again, the biggest reason why we don't use a steamer anymore, not that we don't use it, we just decrease the amount of time we have used it, is because of the cleaning gun that we have. The cleaning gun does a lot of work for us when it comes to cleaning the center console, whether it's blowing out debris out of the rails or interior or anywhere really. Whether, if you're going to have a cleaning gun, you have an air compressor. So we have a different attachment, and that cleans out the pads. So the cleaning gun does a lot of the work that a steamer does. Now the steamer is still, like, we still have it. Like, it's still in our shop. Like, we still do use the Aqua Pro steamer. But it is a lot more where, like, it has to be a more specific reason for us to use it. So if there's like some very sticky gum or something in the seats or in the floor, in the plastic somewhere, or in the floor mats, that's what you will use that. But a lot of times, even if there's like some sticky substance on the fabric material, with the bone scraper, with just, APC, with maybe the cleaning gun, like we're able to take off a lot of the stuff without using the steamer. So in that regard, like over the last 3 years, like you've seen a very steady decrease in our steamer usage. Now, I will say when it comes to like removing very brittle or in general removing PPF, or now when it comes to removing tint, yeah, like we heavily rely on the steamer. So for interior detailing specifically, yes, we've heavily decreased our steamer usage, but we still use it, just nowhere near as much as we used to. But now that we have that, that we do, if we do PPF removal or vinyl wrap removal, or if we're doing tint removal, we are heavily relying on that steamer. So it's still getting used outside of the interior cleaning, but specifically for interior cleaning, we have decreased the amount that we've been using it. Next, again, that Johnny Vac, like when we built the van now, it was made for that specific reason, right? Like we built things and we set up things because it's mobile van, because we're going to park the van here and we have to work over there. So we need to have a long enough hose, and because this, because that. So how we built the mobile rig for detailing is much different than how we operate at the shop, right? So could we, like Lex and I have talked about, like, should we hook up that Johnny Vac on the wall somewhere and just, we have all the tools and equipment. Like, should we put that on the wall and just like the same way that we have with the pressure washer reel, where, we have the reel attached to the wall and we use that? Like, well, we were maybe thinking about doing that for the vacuum as well. Still not sure if we're going to do that, because again, like it's just overkill. Like we can sell that equipment and just, get some money back for it, because it's literally just collecting dust right now. So it's either we're going to sell it or we will hook it up to the wall and use it like that. And again, it will work. Like it will clear up more room on the ground. But again, that vacuum, it was $500, very well built, premium material, premium tool. The vacuum that we paid, $60 for does the exact same job, right? Now, again, we could be more efficient by putting it on the wall, but again, just like, do we really need that? Is that really necessary? So I'm not sure if we are or we aren't going to do that. But that is another tool that we stopped using. And like a big takeaway from that is like your business is how you run your business, right? For you, at whatever current phase that you're in, it might make sense to purchase whatever said tool or product, right? Because it makes sense at this given time. And maybe over the next 3 months, 9 months, 18 months, 36 months, like things change, right? So, if I look back 3 years ago and I look to where my detailing, if I look 3 years ago and I look at where my detailing business was and I compare that to now, it's two different businesses, right? Like, yes, we're offering the same services and we're at the shop and but if you go back 3 years, my detailing business was completely different than what it is now. Right, not just the business, but me as an individual, right? Like that's a different business that I had 3 years ago, and then if you want to go back 6 years ago, that's a way completely different business, right? So your business evolves over time, right? So if you do purchase something that makes sense right now, well, yeah, you purchase it right now because it makes sense. But now, 6 months from now, 19 months from now, 36 months from now, it might not be as useful as what you thought it was, or as when you first purchased it. And that's absolutely fine, right? Like, did I know in the future that the $500 vacuum wasn't going to really be used in the future? Like, no, I didn't do it. I just purchased it based on my best judgment of what we needed at the time. And that's it, right? So yes, like you can't overanalyze every single little detail in your business to say, oh, well, do I really need that? It's like you may or may not. You can only make the best judgment call that you can at the given time with what you're doing, and it might make sense right now, but in 30 days, it might not make sense, So I'll go ahead and end the video right there. Hopefully you learned something and took something away. Again, if you are interested in learning and growing your business, March 6th, you can attend the Jobber Summit, and I'll be the host. So if you guys are interested in seeing that and seeing me kind of make some, if you watch me on Instagram, you will see or if you watch me on Instagram if you watch me on Instagram, YouTube Shorts, or TikTok, then you'll see where my influence and videos are in that event because of all the videos that I made. Anyway, just check that out. down in the description or in the show notes if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes. I'll talk to you on the next one.